We got a big show. We're live today. Welcome back, boys.
Like, subscribe, talk ish in the comments.
My audio seems to be a little bit high.
Bro, your boy Kevin
Hello,
Hall.
testing, testing. Yep.
Bro, okay.
Looking
Okay.
good, right? Looking good.
Okay. Trying to shake some things up in the welterweight division.
170 Kev is the best Kev. I've been saying it.
Calling
You
out
know?
Kobe Covington. I like that. He knows it's easy money.
Yeah.
That's easy money.
What's funny too is he's going after all of Buckley's like opponents with Vicente, right? Now with Colby. These guys are gonna meet up for the title shot pretty soon.
Well, I will say this: like, once he gets in that top 10, and I'm hoping Kobe takes it,
Mm-hmm.
because they both could hype up the fight. That'd be fun.
Be a good one.
Like, I'm back on your train about like, hey, well, even though he's not going for a champion run, like, I'm here for this. I am here for this. You know, I don't know how deep he can go, unless I saw like he. This is what I do like about him. He tells you who he is. He's not faking it. Hey, I'm here for the money. Hey, love me or hate me, I don't care, bro. I don't
100%.
care. I don't care. So that I have to respect, and
He even leans into his personality. He almost like exaggerates the sad truths about him, like how he's not like championship level. How people always say that he like exaggerates it. And he's like, all right, I'm not championship level. I'll admit it. Like give me cans. I don't want to fight these good guys. So he leans into like his flaws.
I love that. Like, bro, I don't need an easy fight, but give me Colby though.
Yeah.
Hey,
and it's like it's still Colby. It's not like yeah, Colby gets a lot of shit, right? But it's still, and it's like he's calling him a shit fight, but it's like a fight that we want to see. You know, you got the shit talk from Colby, a former title challenger. Like it's still Colby at the end of the day. It's not like Kevin's calling out like Themba Garimbo.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And what I like too, it's like, okay.
No offense to Themba, that might have been fucked up, but
no, shout out to Themba.
Yeah.
But he's not in the rankings yet, so I understand where you're coming from.
yeah.
So he calls out Kobe. He hopefully will get that fight. He pushes Kobe now out of the top 10, right? Where he needs to be somewhere in the fucking 15 spot. And he gets in the top 10. Now things get really interesting because any of those guys he faces, it's gonna be a tough task, right? But that's what I think makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
To me, he's almost like the ultimate gatekeeper, and that's no disrespect to Kevin. That's like you would really have to earn to get into that top 10 now.
Oh yeah.
Any of those guys that are on the outside looking in, if you faced him, whoa, like a Carlos Pratis, for example, that may not be an easy fight for Carlos.
No, definitely not. But Carlos got in off like a Neo Magny, right? So that's kind of what you're saying. Like you got to get in off of Kevin Holland now. It basically just makes the whole like if you're thinking that the welterweight division is good now, right? It just took a level up because now you got to get past Kevin Holland. So now everybody who gets in there, like you're at least getting past Kevin Holland.
So it's almost like, let's say Gabriel Bonfim gets in, let's say Randy Brown gets in. I don't know what's going on with Brian Battle. I think he's fighting at 185. I don't know if he's gonna stay there, if he's gonna go back down. What's gonna happen there?
That might be an all-time fall from grace right there. This guy had the fucking MMA world in the palm of his hands last year battle. And now he's moving up to 85 after missing weight. Continue.
Maybe. And I didn't realize he was heavy before, right?
Huge momentum kill to be doing that.
Yeah, he used to be riding at what, 205?
Bro, he was in conversation with Buckley, like as he still is, so to speak. Like he beat Battle, or he beat Randy Brown, and he's been saying Buckley's ducking me. Like, to be honest with you, I have no clue why he moved up. Even Buckley was saying, unless he can't make the weight, but even Buckley was saying, like, you know, there was conversations of like, you know, I've been talking to Battle, he's right there, put in a little bit more work, and you'll be there soon. Now he's not, so he's out of the picture.
Yeah, so. You know, I was thinking about that. So then you got, you know, if Gabriel Bonfim, let's say, beats Stephen Thompson, and he has to eventually face a Kevin Holland, that's interesting.
Definitely.
Mike Malott, he gets in there, and he has to face a Kevin Holland. That's interesting. Randy Brown eventually has to face all these guys that could be top 15 guys. Kevin Holland would be the, and if Kevin Holland knows what he could do, he's gonna be like easy money.
Well, those are all great matchups for Kevin, right? He's got the size over all those guys you just named.
Right. And so, but then it's almost like, okay, Let's say he gets another win and he starts talking to the Michael Moraleses of the world, the Leon Edwards, like him versus Leon Edwards.
Him versus Michael Morales. Although he was joking and said he doesn't want that, but these are all great matchups, bro.
Yeah, no, it makes it so much funner now. I agree with you. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid.
Okay.
Bro, I had to eat a lot of crow this last weekend because I called nothing but loser.
I saw that. It's all good. Who was your other loser that you had?
I called Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, I was on your boat there.
I called Julia Pena.
I was on the boat there.
I called Kelvin Gastelum.
I was on the boat there.
I called Vicente Luque.
I wasn't. I went with Kevin.
But I will say this. You give Kelvin 2 more rounds, I think he got him.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what we're going to do with Joe Pyfer? I just don't even want to speak about him. So we're going to no-sell him today, unfortunately.
All right.
Since
and your boy Patchy?
Patchy, yeah. So, I mean, that's what I was going to say. Since we're on this 316, let's just do the whole kind of main card. Okay. Or like the notable fights. So, yeah, Patchy, right? Man, I'm going to be real. Like, I never seen him fight before. If that's how I'm not sure if that's how he's always fought. But like, wow, if that's how he's always fought and nobody's watched him in the past, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a reflection of like the media space, maybe including myself, needs to start watching more footage before like you give takes on guys. Because like, how did nobody see how this guy fights going into this? I mean, I think even MMA Guru though on his show was saying like, I didn't see that coming. And I know Guru watches film, so I gotta go back and watch a Patchy Mix fight. But if anybody's watching, tell us like if that's how he fought in Bellator, or if like he's usually less flat-footed than that, usually has more head movement. Like someone tell us. But I don't know. Everybody as a whole needs to start watching more film if nobody saw that coming, I feel like.
Well, I'll say this because I think I commented on someone's where I was saying I watched a couple.
Yeah.
More the highlights though, right?
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't impressed with the highlights. I was like, okay, cool. But you're about to face some competition here. It's funny because I'm gonna play a double-edged sword.
Hey, by the way, you did pick whoever beat Patchy Mario, so give you credit there.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
You didn't mention that one. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. And I was listening to Brendan Schaub's show yesterday. There's just levels to this shit, bro. And these guys that are coming from these other organizations, to me, they're all suspect. RDR has proved to me that he can play with the big boys. And it's almost like the CFL to the NFL. Cool, you won a fucking Super Bowl in the CFL or the Arena League. Come to the NFL and see what the fuck's about to happen. This is a whole different thing. And I think all the shit that Patchy was saying leading up to the fight, being one double champion, and Brendan Schaub says like double champion of what? Cool. That's like the kids league, you know? And so that I still have that mindset, but on the flip side, I will make this argument for a year out, 3-week notice. He did have a couple moments where he looked okay. His head movement was like where was his head movement? Like he was just getting jabbed. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some things that he could take away from there. He's young. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get finished. There's things that he could grow on. You know, I told somebody, give him Sean O'Malley because Sean O'Malley needs a win right now.
I was thinking about that, like, hypothetically in my mind. So, okay, I'm gonna not give him credit for, and it's a fine line in my opinion. So, basically, I'm not going to give him that credit for being a year out in the 3 weeks because of what he said to Mario. If you sit there and you say you're looking through your opponent, then no excuses after. I don't care what you got. It doesn't matter, right? And I'm not holding it against you. Like, I'm not here, like, for example, because he also said that. That was his argument. He posted, like, not bad, basically, for, like, a year out in 3 weeks notice. So, if he never were to say that, then I wouldn't say, well, you talk shit and held that against him. Right, but it's the fact that he's kind of putting that in there where I'm going to bring him back and be like, well, you said you were looking through Mario. So where's that energy at? You weren't worried about 3 weeks notice on Thursday. You know what I mean? So now that you lost, I don't care about your 3 weeks notice. And just to reiterate, I'm not holding it against him. Like, the whole thing about talking shit, I get that he wants to sell a fight. So nothing wrong there. Just don't make the excuse, Mario, you know?
Right, he gave himself an out.
Exactly. And it's fine. It's his first time here. You know, you deal with a lot of pressure. You deal with a lot of criticism. So, you know, maybe he's not in the right headspace. He just want to get something out there and defend himself. I get it. But I'm just giving you my take. It's not a good look. You know what I mean? But, hey, you got MTK. He's giving you credit. So some people will give you credit. Some people are going to be harder on you. 50-50.
Yeah, I mean,
mixed bag.
like I said, it's a double-edged sword for me, right? Like,
yeah.
A piece of me still believes, like, hey, even maybe if he had a full training camp and maybe he wasn't out, I think Mario Batista still gets the win. I think maybe he needs to go back to the drawing board and realize, hey, maybe these guys are a little bit better in here. You know, maybe, you know, I'm going to have to eat a little bit of humble pie here. Like, okay, I got to go back to the drawing board. I got to fucking get some things, you know, correct some things here. Because if any other fighter saw that, like, oh, okay, yeah. let's go.
I'm looking very intently on his next fight to see, like, how he changes things up or if it's all the same.
See that? Exactly. And I think the guys that tested him was it PFL?
Bellator.
They don't have the skill set that the guys have in the UFC. So maybe he was getting some easier wins because he's fighting, you know, some of the lower level guys.
Right. Well, he beat a lot of guys who got cut from the UFC. And then I think like fans like misconstrue it and give you credit. Like he's beat a lot of like former guys who, you know, fought for the title in the UFC and shit like that. And it's like, you can't equate it. I was also going to say, if you reverse engineer it, right? Reverse engineer it. I know we mentioned how champions come to the UFC and, you know, see how that goes. But reverse engineer it meaning, how about the guys who have been cut from the UFC somewhat in their prime, right? And look what happens when they go to other organizations. They become champions. I got almost 3 examples. Impa Kasanganay. He got knocked out by Buckley, lost another couple fights after that, got cut from the UFC, becomes PFL light heavyweight champion. Not even middleweight. He goes up a weight class, which is crazy. You would never be a light heavyweight champion in the UFC ever, and that's no disrespect to Impa. On top of that, you got in Bellator, Corey Anderson became the light heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? He got cut from the UFC. You got Ryan Bader, who could have never really touched heavyweight gold or light heavyweight gold in the UFC. He eventually got cut because of his age, actually. Too old. Goes to Bellator, becomes the light heavyweight and heavyweight champ. So, like, reverse engineer it. The guys who aren't even good enough to get gold in the UFC and get cut, they go and become champions of other organizations when, like, you know what I mean? They're not even better than the top 15 necessarily.
There's a big gap between these organizations. That's why it's the UFC.
And that proved it, right? Like, what's Mario ranked? Or he might not actually be ranked that low. 10? Yeah, I would go ahead and say that, like, the best fighter from any other organization is basically, like, you got to throw him up against the 15th ranked guy in whatever division he fights in, and that's where they're equal to. Like, no more credit for, like, the top 5, the top 1. You know what I mean? Like, no fucking way. Like, champion from another organization, you're just as good as the top 15 guy here. We'll give you that credit. But anything more than that's a little bit too much. Yeah. It's been proving itself time and time again.
Yeah. RDR's kind of been, like, you know, the guy that kind of stepped in.
Definitely. And you come in, Kayla Harrison.
It's proven me wrong.
Right. But let's do the slow build, you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you can't get past that, it's all good. But, yeah, let's just stop hyping him up, you know? What would you say about, like, worst debut of all time? I know that, like, how far can we go back in our history bag here? But in fucking recent memory, that's got to be, like, one of the worser ones.
I wouldn't go that far. If he would have got knocked out, I would have said something like that. If you know, if he would have got tapped, if he would have got demolished, he had some moments where he kind of fought back. Like
he did in the end for sure.
I'll give him credit too. He didn't give up. He kept moving forward. He just was like he was on a line, bro. He couldn't like. I mean, let's have a little. I know that, and I'm not even a fighter. Let's have some head movement, bro. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
It looked like a punching bag, dog. The memes were funny as fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't know if it's the worst debut of all time, but it's one of the worst for the magnitude, for the expectation. I don't know. Did you watch Dylan Dennis versus Logan Paul?
I don't think so.
There were parts of that reminded me of it, where it's just like he's just standing there getting socked. You know what I mean? Yeah, getting popped in the mouth and shit for talking all that mess. And Logan was kind of doing that to Dylan a little bit in the fight. Now, Patchy did fight back a hell of a lot more, But there were shades of Danis versus Logan Paul.
Look at there were things you could build on. He didn't give up. He kept moving forward. Yeah, he was getting hit, and he had moments. He had flashes like, "Oh, okay, I see you, bro." But like no ground. We didn't see any of the ground game that supposedly that he has. I was trying to think of another fighter that did step in that I was like, I thought it was in the featherweight division. I can't find them.
I got like a list of the 5 right here.
Who are they?
Well, 3 of them are like complete no names. Oh, okay. So like CM Punk is one of the worst debuts of all time.
Okay.
This kid Max Roshkoff, who quit on the stool in his debut, was one of the worst.
Okay, you see, yeah. I mean,
yeah. Mark Hunt.
Oh, really?
I guess submitted in the first round. Again, he was coming over from Pride. He had a lot of hype, like a Patchy mix. Okay, so let's give Patchy some credit. If he were to get finished in the first round, maybe it would have been a top 5 fucking.
Pride might be the only organization that could have guys come in and fucking step the fuck up.
Rampage Jackson, Pride champion to UFC champion.
Pride, perfect example. There was a handful of Pride guys. They were beasts.
I want to say fucking Chuck Liddell, but I'm not 100% sure. Shogun, I think.
Yeah, Shogun. There was a handful of guys from Pride that they came in here and they stepped in.
Definitely. Well, they carried a lot of the UFC for a while. Now it's not that way anymore. And shout out to Brendan Schaub, because I was watching up until that point. I heard him say that too, where it's like, it's not basically how it was back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, today, you cannot equate like guys coming over from other organizations like you did when in the Pride and Strikeforce days, because Daniel Cormier came from Strikeforce, Nick Diaz came from Strikeforce, Robbie Lawler came from Strikeforce. So Strikeforce and Pride days, that shit is over and done with. Like a lot of these regional scenes, the crazy.
So big right now. They're gonna be some outliers, right? There will be some outliers. Like it won't. But I agree with you. You gotta get a top 15 guy. Like you gotta get a guy that's like trying to also get in the top 15. Yeah,
and like okay, so Brennan also kind of spoke on his podcast. Maybe you'll remember this part of it. And it's been something that's kind of been lingering in my mind for a while. I just didn't even have the words to like say it, but he kind of contextualized it for me. So let me kind of mention it to you. Like there is this thing where journalists and he even categorized it to old heads, but it's a lot of the new heads too, where like they get excited because they followed some guy's career, right? Even like along the lines of a me and a Buckley, right? And they just like are so hardcore that they're like, they want to tell the world and be right about like, oh my gosh, I knew about this guy before anyone else did, right? And they're always really thirsty about it. On top of that, there's like regional stuff that goes into play. So like, if you're from a region, right? If you're from New Jersey, and you're a journalist from New Jersey and you're a kid, like you're invested, like you have this like feeling that you're part of the underground, like things. So basically when this guy gets signed to the UFC, you really hype it up. And that's what kind of Brendan was saying. Like a lot of these journalists, they get so excited that they know something about somebody who nobody knows about yet. And they start to like overhype the shit, And there is something to that. I think that's why a lot of guys post about people who have no name, right? And they start just posting like, oh, so-and-so's having his UFC debut. And it's a slight flex of being like, I know this guy that nobody else does.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
Yeah.
Well, this will be an ongoing story because there's going to be another guy that's going to come in that people are hyped up about, like, see where he's at. So,
yeah. I guess it happened with Bo Nickel a little bit, where it's like, even those college wrestlers, a lot of people want to be hardcores, including myself. I might have taken the bait on that one too, but nowadays, it's like, you got to really prove yourself.
I know you didn't want this, but Bo Nickel versus Joe Pfeiffer. Set it up.
Yeah, set that shit up. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I was going to say... Okay, so wait. Sean O'Malley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want to touch on Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes? I mean, or Juliana Pena and all that shit? I mean, we can. I don't got nothing nice to say, but we can get into it.
Why don't you got nothing nice to say? You ain't drinking the Kool-Aid?
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid because okay. You want to know? I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because somebody like the shilling, you know what I mean? It's so much and it's so disgusting that it makes me overcorrect. And I will admit it. That's a difference between me and a lot of people. Like, I'll admit my flaws. I'll tell you the truth. You know what I mean? So now you can see whenever I dramatize things, you can realize, yeah, I might be overcorrecting a little bit. I might fall more in the middle, you know? But when you have guys like Ariel Helwani going on his show on Monday, going on his show, calling the fight a money fight, calling it a super fight, thanking the MMA gods for bringing it to us at this point in time because the sport needs it. Downing Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, downing Tom Aspinall's return to up this fight. When you do that crap, when you do stuff like that, it forces me to overcorrect. Because you are over exaggerating, bro. You think in any fucking imagination that Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes is bigger than Tom Aspinall's return, is bigger than Charles Oliveira versus fucking Ilia Topuria, you are out of your mind. But why? My big question, why? Why do you do this? That's my question. Because I know you're fundamentally wrong. I don't need any explanation. I don't need a debate. I just fucking sold it. You want to go in on all my points? Super fight. These women fight in the same... Okay, Kayla used to fight at 145 in another organization, so whatever. But also, Amanda Nunes fought at 145 in fucking the UFC. Super fight is more so like a fighter comes from a higher weight, from a lower weight, champions from the UFC. These aren't equal champions. Kayla came off the PFL off a loss, bro. She didn't have her fucking belt. She lost that shit. She didn't win that year. So you weren't a crown champion. What's her name? Larissa Pacheco. Shout out to you. Dominant woman. You should be in the UFC. You know what I mean? You took that belt that year. So Kayla didn't come over to the UFC as a 145-pound reigning champion. She lost that shit. That was like 2 years ago. Revisionist history. So it's not a super fight. Off that merit. You know what I mean? She already lost that shit. Like, it doesn't have that build. What's the other one? Like, I already talked about Charles Oliveira, Ilia, but the other one about thanking the MMA gods. You know what I mean? This guy's crazy. This guy's crazy.
Oh, man. He did go up on Monday.
And on top of that, I have it screen recorded. We can play it. This guy, after he's done saying the point, I'll admit, you've seen me on this podcast, I'll sweat, you know what I mean? But after that guy said the horrible ass take, he goes ahead and looks up in the fucking camera because he knows he's lying through his teeth, sees himself sweating, and wipes off the sweat.
Ariel.
Mr. No Sweat. Mr. It's all good, but you're lying through your damn teeth. I'm over here seething listening to you, and then I see you wipe the sweat, and I know that you know you're lying through your teeth.
God, I wish Ariel had like a number, like a hotline. And just get you to call in.
My question is why?
Why is he selling it?
Why does he do this for women's MMA when, like, again, here's another point. Why would we ever act like we're more excited for Kayla Harrison to fight than we are for Alexander Pantoja?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't.
Because why is Ariel thanking the MMA gods? When Kaya Sakura came over from another organization, from Ryzen, right? He's a former champion there. Same kind of context. He might not have had the belt when he left, right? But he's a former champion. When he got signed to the UFC, right? Why wasn't Ariel calling that a super fight? Why wasn't Ariel thanking the MMA gods for that? Why wasn't Ariel downing Tom Aspinall's return for that? You see, I know the sport. And you got fake guys like Ariel who don't know what they're watching, who have made a fucking killing off of this shit. And that's why I get pissed off. Because, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me Kaya Sakura is not a former Ryzen champion. Tell me that, like...
It's okay. So
it's double standard. It's like, okay, I'm going to do it for this person. I don't do it for this person. Oh, when it's in my favor, let's talk about star power. But when I got a guy on who's not a star, let's ignore it. Let's fucking ignore it. You know what I do when I got a guy on who wants to ignore star power? I tell him, that's what you got to do, though. You realize you got to do that, right?
Right, part of the game. That's
a real conversation to have. That's what everybody wants to hear. The elephant in the fucking room. So I'm going off on a tangent. I'll relax,
I'll say this. Okay, so I'll kind of meet you in the middle. I mean, for me, I'm not going to say it's a headlining fight, but you know when you told me a few weeks ago, like, hey, you know, why don't you like these guys to fight, even though it's not a championship fight?
Which guys?
Ends. Like, I don't know. I think you said Nate Diaz or like...
Nate Diaz return. You said you weren't excited for it.
Right, and then I'm in that boat, right?
Right.
In this aspect or in this realm, I mean, the UFC can sell it to some casual fans. Hey, Amanda Nunes is coming back. This is the person, they can sell it. I wouldn't want to know it. I wouldn't want to have it as a pay-per-view like headliner.
But if we're thanking the MMA gods, if we're downing Tom Aspinall,
I'm not thinking MMA gods.
Right.
No, that's too extra. That's too far.
Thank you. Okay, go on.
That's too far. Go on. Parry Punch was about to kick me off the street.
No, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That's where it's just like almost like I can't even get past certain points. But I'm saying go on, keep making it. Keep making your point.
Alarm because I got a whole nother subject here. Hold on.
Okay, well, I'll even finish off on this topic. I'll wait for MTK to come back, but what I'm about to talk about is Mighty Mouse and the MMA Guru reacting to it. So I'll just go ahead and say one other thing about this real quick, and then we can kind of end it off.
If you felt that strongly, how strongly did you feel when he started talking about John Jones?
Okay, we'll get into that. Let me just finish this one off real quick. All right. I was gonna say that there's another issue with this fight. Yeah, Just Drew is saying right now Amanda Nunes ain't even in the testing pool. I was just gonna mention that. So shout out to you.
What does that mean exactly?
So what it means, and we don't know we don't know if that rule still is in place, but basically you have 6 months until you enter the testing pool until you can fight or even be eligible.
So if you've been out,
right? That is so basically, in other words, we all look to see have you entered the testing pool. That shows you're committed to actually returning. So the fact that they're selling this big old hype job, right? She hasn't even entered the testing pool. You can't even get excited.
You saw my boy Dana finally came back. I was so happy, bro.
Yeah, but wait. So, with that being said, she's not in the testing pool, okay? So, she can't return. Back to my point of Mighty Mouse Johnson saying that, yes, Amanda Nunes shouldn't return. This is what I've been saying. Amanda shouldn't return, okay? Because all they want her to come back for is because there's no other stars for Kayla to fight. You asked me, right? Why don't I have anything nice to say? So let's get into it. Let's dig into the real minutia. This topic ain't done. Okay. Kayla has no one else to fight. That's why they're bringing back Amanda Nunes. Whose fault is that? Amanda Nunes' fault or the UFC's fault or whoever's fault? UFC. So, with that being said, Amanda coming back is a band-aid to the problem. What's she going to do? Win the belt and keep fucking defending it? What's going to happen here? You know what I mean? Amanda's going to come back for a one-off fight or whatever, win the belt, best case scenario, and then immediately retire. Now Kayla just lost the belt. Now we got a vacant title again. It's only a band-aid to the real problem. The real problem is the UFC, the women's bantamweight division, has no stars. Mm-hmm. I said it. I got a timestamp. I posted on my story saying the division hasn't evolved since Ronda Rousey. And then I go watch MMA Guru versus Mighty Mouse's first podcast, and MMA Guru said that same shit. The division hasn't had a single star. The division has regressed since Ronda Rousey left. That's what Guru said. I mean, they had Amanda Nunes, they had Kat Zingano, they had Miesha Tate, Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean? A couple other ones, Jermaine Durandamy, Holly Holm. You know what I mean? They had a star-studded lineup. Now you can't even name anybody past Juliana and fucking Kayla at 135. Other than the girl that fucking Juliana just fought. And I won't give you a hint and tell her name, but I know her name.
I have no idea.
Go past that one. The last 2 title fights, go past that. You can't. I can't.
I can't.
Because most of them have already been cut from the UFC. Like, Tyler Santos is gone.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, so that's my point. So they don't have anyone else. They're bringing back Amanda because the UFC doesn't have anyone else for Kayla to fight. They signed her to this big-ass contract, right? Because I don't know where people go wrong. I could have told you guys not to do this. But they signed her to a big-ass contract. They want to recoup their money. That's why they're asking for Kayla Harrison to come back. That's why they're Amanda Nunes to come back. That's why they're sucking her off. You notice that they're sucking off Amanda Nunes just like they did with John Jones? Ooh. And nobody, I mean, let's be real. It's never what meets the eye. It's never just like, oh, Amanda Nunes come back. No, there's a huge problem right now. There ain't nobody to fight. They got Kayla Harrison signed to a big-ass deal. What are you going to pay Kayla? $1 million to fight Raquel Pennington, who just lost to Juliana Pena? Yeah. That's the real problem. I'm exposing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't want to do this, but it's a way bigger problem. It's a way bigger problem. Amanda Nunes would come back for one fight.
Yeah, and now that I'm picking up what you're putting down, I mean, yeah. the only thing they could come up with is a WWE kind of a storyline.
Exactly. And that's wolf tickets. That's like kind of along the lines of Nick Diaz versus GSP. They never had a beef, right? And GSP is calling Nick a bully and all this shit. Nick, little do people know, Nick got bullied. That's how he got into fighting. Mm-hmm. So that was wolf tickets. This would be wolf tickets too. Talking about a beef. Go look him up right now. Amanda Nunes, Kayla Harrison, and tell me you don't find a photo of them on Google with their arms around each other hugging.
Yeah, because they train together, right?
So it's wolf tickets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're crying wolf. They're acting like there's a beef to sell a show when there ain't nothing there, guys. I'm telling you. There's nothing there. I mean, you guys can buy it if you want to. They're never going to tell you the truth. But Kayla has no problem with Amanda. Amanda's got no problem with Kayla. But watch, if this fight happens, it's going to be sold wolf tickets. It's going to be this big old beef, this gym versus gym, all this creative fucking drama. They did train together, and Amanda left.
Yeah.
But it's not some big old hatred. They're respectful of each other. They're both moms. Like they got a lot more in common than they don't. I'll tell you that much. They got a lot more reasons to like each other and let bygones be bygones than not. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you that much. On top of that, Kayla just like screams off the top of her lungs when she's on that microphone, and that's fucking super just like annoying. But that's about as much as I got on that one. I just had to put it all out there. And you know, Ariel, bro, like shout out to you, bro. Like that, like I don't know what's wrong with you. Honestly, I don't. Should I play the clip? Just to really stamp it in. Like I tell no lies.
You're more upset about this than what he said about John Jones?
We'll get into that. I don't know what you want me to react to. So I'll give you my reaction in a second, whatever you want me to. 1 second.
And quotes John 3:16 at UFC 316, and then says, Amanda, come on in. And this is just a money fight. This is just an incredible fight.
Oh, incredible.
I cannot wait for this.
Can't
this
wait.
feels like a big deal. This feels like a super fight. Lord knows we need this.
Lord knows. God knows we need
Ilya
this.
Topuria is fighting in 2 weeks. He should be fighting Islam. We ain't getting that. Tom Aspinall is going to get his next fight announced. It won't be against John Jones. We ain't getting that. But we're getting Amanda Nunes coming out of retirement to fight Kayla. Thank the gods. Thank you, MMA gods.
Watch him wipe the sweat.
We needed that shot in the arm.
You see that?
The boys in the back did a great job.
I didn't lie about one thing. All the way down to him wiping that sweat off his forehead. Tell me he didn't. Double-handing it. And hey, I sweat too. That's how I know that shit. I know when I sweat, I be fucking full of some bullshit. I be fucking exposed for something. There's no other reason to sweat. Other than it being fucking hot or you got some lights on you. Okay, I'll give him an excuse, but whatever.
But what's his motivation to want to pump that fight up?
He's been doing it for years.
But, I mean, he doesn't have any... It's not like the UFC's budging him like, hey, pump up this fight for us. That's
why I want to know. It's like okay, my only thing, and I've been wondering it for years because he does this with the boxing with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. He's a super big advocate for them, and it's like, again, like it's good, but you shilling so hard makes it puts a bad taste in people's mouth. Like, let people become fans. You know what I mean? You telling the world with your platform and like almost weaponizing your platform to do it is disingenuous. I think that the same way you like have kind of been like, I want to have like the welterweight division as my beat. That would be my niche, right? I think somewhere along the lines, Ariel decided to himself that like women's combat sports would be his niche. That's what best guess. I've always asked myself, why do you do this? Why do you prop up these women, give them extra shine, like double the shine? It's like because women don't get shine, right? He overcorrects. Because I'm saying when he overcorrects, I overcorrect. It's almost like for him, he sees that women get no shine, so he overcorrects it and really goes in on them.
Okay, so
that's my guess, you know. Nothing against him, but like when you bullshit, I'ma call bullshit. You know what I mean? I don't go to bed fucking hating Ariel, but the truth is the truth, bro. And even last week, since we're on the Ariel thing, last week, I even dropped the clip today, last night or something like that. Ariel saying, right, John Jones turned down the fucking the FU money. I told you almost 2 weeks ago, Ariel wasn't telling you that. That's the part he's leaving out. That yes, the UFC accepted John Jones's FU money, They said yes immediately. John said, oh, it's that easy? Fuck no, it's not that easy. Double it. And that's what happened. And they're still negotiating. So, you know what I mean? Ariel, you call him the king. You call him whatever you want to call him. But, you know, call me what you want to call me. That's all I really got to say about that.
Very point.
Yeah.
He said that what's interesting is you said, hey, the timeline shouldn't be 6 months, and Ariel is saying the timeline should be 6 months. He's on a hard. Hey,
he's retarded.
But he was hard on Monday. He went off and he said 6 months.
Yeah, International Fight Week, right?
Right. He's like, this is it. I'm tired. He
disingenuous. He's lying through his teeth again. I just proved he lies. So when you hear shit from him, like, just know that, like, some of it's bullshit, some of it's not. Me, I tell the truth. I just tell you the truth. And I'd rather not even speak on something. I might not even speak, but, like, I'm not going to tell a lie. He's only doing this because he's on a side with Tom Aspinall or something like that. Believe me, if it was on a flipped script, right, and Tom Aspinall was, like, this fucking reigning champion and the interim guy is forcing him to return super quickly, Ariel would be saying what I'm saying. Dude, I'm telling you, bro.
Now, I was so glad, like I said, I was so glad, Dana came back, was able to clear some shit up.
Yeah, so what do you want me to react to? I know what he said, but refresh me on what I should be reacting to here.
With Ariel?
With John Jones and Dana or something like that. You said, why aren't I pissed or something like that?
I'm talking about what Ariel said.
Oh, yeah. Is there more to it, or did I pretty much cover it?
Well, I mean, basically, I mean, just let me see if you covered it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I heard him say that. I watched a little bit, but dude, I heard those two things, right? I tuned in. And shout out to you. You be getting Ariel some views, because I swear to God I wouldn't have tuned in if you didn't text me. But I was like, you know what? Like, MTK texted me. He said some shit about it. Like, let me go watch it, right? And then I watched like 20 minutes. I got to like that John Jones part, I think. And then I'm like, dude, I cannot listen to this guy. Like, he's just talking bullshit. Like, bullshit. Like, the craziest bullshit you ever did hear, bro.
Where's that,
Just Jew. Masvidal had to do it recently, but hasn't got a fight yet. Oh, yeah, with the testing pool. Talking about Masvidal re-entering because they're talking about Masvidal's return. Yeah, it's just the only big women's fight, but it's far from the biggest MMA fight. Okay, Jew, that'll be the last thing I say about it, which is, that's what everybody says. It's the biggest women's fight. Oh, like, good, dude. Like, and it's Alexandria Pantoja's next fight is the biggest men's flyweight fight. Okay, so what does that mean? You feel me? Like, okay, Kayla versus Amanda is the biggest women's fight, right? So Pantoja's next fight is also the biggest flyweight fight with fucking Kaya Sakura at that moment. So, like, that's all you're saying, bro. Like, again, you're throwing in caveat women's fight. You cannot say that sentence without throwing in women's. It's the best we got out of the women, but the fucking women is so far lacking behind. The best is still way far behind. So you might call, like, the women's best is like a grade C, grade D. We're getting a woman out of retirement. We're getting a girl who lost her title in another organization meeting up here. Tell me that's not grade D. That's more of an argument for grade D than grade A.
And like I said, I mean, I'll circle back. I mean, for a casual, like we had talked about, like, hey, the average, like, person, oh, Amanda Nunes is gonna come fight back. Oh, you know, he's gonna fight Kayla. Like, they could. It is a fight that they could sell.
Yeah.
So it's the best thing they can do.
Right. And I was gonna say too.
There's just a lot of because there's zero other options. Because like you just said, I cannot name one other person that Kayla Harrison should fight right now. I can't name one.
Yeah. And so that's the problem. That's why it's like, okay, even like.
But I see what you're saying. It's a Band-Aid because this is the only thing that you could. It's the only thing you could, like, draw up.
Right. And so it's just crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess the last thing I'll say is, like, I see Red Wolf saying the same thing. Red Wolf said the same thing as Jew, where he's like, you know, it's the biggest women's fight. Why wouldn't we be excited? And it's just like, yeah, I guess, dude. But you guys are missing the point. So, you know, I think we covered it enough. We'll just go on in circles with that one.
It's like when you get like, you know, two drunken guys at a party and they keep on arguing like, bro,
Yeah. We're back to square one. Like there's no resolution. Sean O'Malley, but hey, is that pretty much all your take on it? Because I feel like you can defend that other side that's against me. You know what I mean? So do you have a voice for those people? Like Red Wolf's out there, the Red Wolves of the world. He's watching this.
I can't. I'm not the biggest advocate for the women's division.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I'm excited for the Weili Valentina Shevchenko fight.
Yeah.
If I were to put those two fights for these two fights, which one would I want to see more? I probably would want to see the Valentina because it's going to be a little bit more competitive where someone's not coming out of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an asterisk almost. I think Amanda Nunes is one of the best of all time.
Her legacy's intact.
Yeah, I think that I didn't know too much about Kayla before this, you know, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
All right, fair enough. Sean O'Malley, and I got a burp. Merab.
Yeah, I'll say this. Just, you know, it has to be demoralizing for Sean O'Malley. You do see a lot of people talking about how the UFC propped him up, and even I was rooting for him in this fight, thinking, hey, he's so dynamic. He has that one hitter quitter punch, and now to see him not being able to capitalize on his biggest asset, taking all these things that he was supposed to be disciplined. I even said it, bro. I'm excited to see this new version of Sean O'Malley, but it didn't matter. That has to be so demoralizing. And we talk about lights and stars a lot. His star got almost diminished on that fight. I honestly don't know what he does from here. The Sharks are going to be circling. You got Cody Garbrandt calling him out.
Cody don't want to see Sean, and I like.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but like, he don't want to see Sean.
But you got Cody calling you out, bro.
Yeah.
We went. This may be the biggest downfall I've ever seen. You went last year from being one of the biggest stars in the UFC, having arguments with Ryan Garcia, talking to arguing with Ilia Tempora, talking about I'm gonna be the next Conor McGregor, pink Lambos, the hair, the swag, everything, bro. All the followers. What's that dude that fucking didn't go to the after party? Having people know who your fucking sidekick people are.
Mm-hmm.
To right now, that ladder, I can't believe the UFC kept him at the number 1 contender spot.
Mm.
I honestly cannot believe it. He fights Umar for the next fight. Is he going to beat Umar?
I think, based off the way you're asking that, you don't think so, but I think that's a good-ass fight. I say book that shit. Book that shit.
But I don't see him winning that.
I think it's a closer fight than you imagine.
I don't think it is, and I think he got super exposed. You know what? He did good in getting up and not staying on that position.
Mm-hmm.
But to get tapped, I don't know, bro. Like it's interesting because I was thinking at that time, we're seeing one of the best strikers of all time in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went back and I looked at the list of the fighters that he knocked out, there's maybe one name I know who he is, and I was like, shame on me.
O'Malley?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of big name knockouts by any means.
But he was so dynamic as he built up. He beat up all the lower tier guys.
Mm-hmm.
Highlighted
them.
Oh, but he knocked them. You know what I mean? Like
highlighted them. They weren't just knockouts.
Right.
They were highlights.
And so I see how you can prop him up. I see how you can build him up, right? I think you give Aljo. This was my thing when he beat Aljo. Aljo didn't stick to his game plan because everybody was calling Aljo boring. Aljo should have stuck to his same game plan, and I bet you he would have beat Sean. The Sharks right now are circling around Sean.
Mm-hmm.
They see blood in the water, and it's almost like that light is so dim that even his sponsors, Prize Picks, and all these, I guarantee you, bro, he gets one more loss in a year from now.
Okay. So I'm the almost the exact opposite. My take, I believe that it says a lot about Merab beating a guy like O'Malley.
I agree with that.
That's how I feel. I feel like I'm on the side of like, wow, Merab is really good because it beat a guy like O'Malley, if that makes sense. I'm giving O'Malley that credit. I'm not thinking even Merab beat a can. I think Merab is insanely good. On top of that, I would say I do think O'Malley. Here's what I would like to see. I'm not going to say what I think he can do because what am I going to know, right? Here's what I would like to see. I would like to see O'Malley step right back into that deep end. You know what I mean? Because you got to realize, and I know that it's hard for these guys. They're in the mix of it. They're in the center of it. I say jump right back into that deep end. Fight a guy like Umar and realize your star power. You know what I mean? And realize that now you might not have kept the belt, but you still have that name to some degree. And like these matchups, you versus Umar. I mean, we're gonna tune in. You think Umar's gonna beat him, but you're gonna tune in. I still think you can capitalize and really with the right matchups. Also, that makes you excited to train, right? If you still are up for the challenge, because I can't speak for Sean, but as a guy from the outside, like if you are still up for that challenge, then Umar is a good challenge to really keep evolving your career. Like I kind of said last week, I feel like O'Malley locked in for this fight camp. Win, lose, or draw, I feel like he dedicated his life and probably became better. So keep building if you're still motivated. If this loss isn't going to break you, build into the next one. I worry if you get a shit ass opponent, you're going to start doing bullshit again. You know what I mean? Not training guys seriously. So get a tough opponent, keep evolving. You versus Umar. If you get a win like that, I mean, your confidence skyrockets back to the top.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Fight Merab again for a third time?
Maybe fight another contender after Umar. But now it's like I just knocked off the best guy first. The best guy first. Kind of like how Max Holloway did with when he lost to Volk twice and just knocked off all the top guys. I feel like I would like to see Sean do that. If you really are hungry, if this loss isn't going to discourage you, take your time off, lock back in and say, I'm still about this shit. That's just I guess from my perspective, what I want to see. And I think he's capable of doing that.
And I guess I want to see that too. And it's almost like he was being propped up as being, we were almost giving him the throne of the greatest of all time a year ago.
I still think, though, he's one of the best in the division. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, too. I still think, and maybe it's, okay, that's the one I'll predict. I still think he's one of the best in division. Only time will tell, but I think moving on from this loss, I see him still being one of the best in the division. Who's better than him? I know you named Umar, but can you name two more?
Now, I'm going to say Aljo.
Aljo's not in the division.
I know Aljo moved up, but I can see Aljo saying, fuck it, I'll go back down and fight him.
Yeah, but okay, not Aljo, anyone else. Just one. Peter Yan or something?
I would say Peter Yan as well. I know what they're going to try to line up Corey Sandhagen versus Merab next, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would...
O'Malley beat Yan, but it was controversial. So, Yan actually just got booked against Marcus McGee.
Yeah.
So, Yan's booked.
Yeah, shout out to
They say Song Yadong. DC says Song Yadong versus O'Malley is the next fight to make. I mean, that's a top contender. I like it.
Here's my thing. I could see Sean beating the top 5 guys. I can't see him beating the top 3 guys.
Yeah. But I also think, here's the thing maybe, right, and we talked about this. Go ahead.
Here's my fault. I'm comparing him in my mind to that striker that Anderson Silva was when he went on a fucking 14-fight win streak.
No, Sean's never been, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
And
but
so in my mind,
Silva had those names, like Rich Franklin and shit. Those were names. Those were former champions.
I looked at it. I looked at everybody that fucking Anderson Silva beat. That's why he's a legend. That's why he's a fucking GOAT, Yeah. And I thought, and now I think last year, that's where we thought Sean was gonna be. He's gonna fucking just knock motherfuckers out, bro. You saw what it did to Aljo. He's calling out Ilya, fucking Ryan Garcia. He just was so crazy, bro. Like the next Conor McGregor, literally, and you could sell it. And now
a lot of that was disingenuous, probably.
But then it was like I looked at it and I was like, but now I look at those bottom 6 names. I couldn't name one of them ever again after I saw their name again.
Mm-hmm. With O'Malley,
but that's what I mean. This ladder he's gonna have to reclimb. He's at a good age in my.
Well, he's still number 1.
which is crazy to me too. I think it should be, because they're saying Corey Sandhagen versus Merab. It should be Merab, Corey Sandhagen, Umar, Peter Yan. Because Peter Yan did just come off a win too, right?
I think he did beat Rob Font or something like that.
Ibison for Figueroa, I believe.
Yeah, Figgy.
So Sean Mallett and then Peter Yan, something like that.
Yeah, but again, for me, it doesn't matter. We all know the truth, right? So it doesn't even matter. Like, Sean's number 1, but he just lost, so he automatically can't fight for a title next. That's why the rankings. That's why the rankings are weird.
Us twice, and he lost. You know, here's the other thing too. He lost worse, and he was supposed to be better. And it goes back to what you just said too. And I liked what circling back with Brendan Schaub. We're not crediting the fact how much better
Merab got, and that's what I did. So you know what I mean. I'll be the one. Yeah.
And so Merab is getting better, and my hat's off to Merab. He's so unorthodox, bro. He's such a weird like champion too, but you can't. He's becoming undeniable, and I would love if Alexander Pantoja beats Kai Kara France to move up to fight Merab. I would love to fight.
We'll see what happens there, but you know how you're saying like you were kind of equating O'Malley to like Anderson Silva, dominant striking wise, I guess you could say. I guess in another category, dominance wise, throw Merab up there with like the Kamarus, the Anderson Silvas of the world, the John Joneses, like big title reign coming, real GSPs, Mighty Mouses, like that's who Merab's from that club. I want to say one other thing though, which is Sean O'Malley, because you said it. You don't see how he's going to climb back up to the top. In my opinion, I feel like he's going to be circling, and this is just like 3D goggles, I guess you could say, just an opinion. I feel like Sean's going to be circling in that top 3 for a while. I don't think anybody's going to really be able to kick him out. Top 3, top 4. And I think then it always comes down to timing. When you're up in that top 3, top 4, it really comes down to timing. If somebody gets injured, if there's an interim here, if somebody can't make it to an opportunity, you're right back in there for the title. So again, I've seen this sport for so many years that I see these things, and I hope that Sean can see this podcast, because honestly, like, don't be too down on yourself. I know he said he's not sad and shit like that, but like I said, bro, just lock back in. And the most important thing for me, for Sean moving forward, is be excited to still be a fighter and to prove yourself with these top matchups, because it's not also just about being a champion. Us fans, we respect, the true
being a competitor
and the true warriors out there and the true competitors. So like you go out there and you still take on the toughest names, we're still tuning in. Look at this one right here, Usman Buckley. Why are we tuned into this one? Well, Usman was one fight away from tying Silva's record for most title defenses of all time. You got to respect it. Look what Joaquin did. 4 fights last year, 2 fights on short notice. You know what I mean? You got to respect it. The hunger. We see it. It doesn't even matter about the titles. Who's the biggest star in the division right now at 170? You know what I mean? I guess there might be an argument for JDM just because he has the title, but the truth is it's Joaquin. Where were JDM and Joaquin before JDM won the belt? You know what I mean? Nowhere even close.
Your boy Ariel said Sean Brady, but.
And Ariel's crazy, bro. But yeah.
I got 10 minutes just so you know.
Okay. What was that we're on? Okay, so let's go. We're pretty much done with it all.
Did you have an update on the Nick story?
Yeah. Let me go into the Nick Diaz story.
So now that I understand it correctly, because like I said, you got me that day, and I was trying to pick up all the pieces. Mm-hmm. He was taken from the rehab he's at in the United States to another rehab in Mexico.
No. I think he just got put into a rehab in Mexico.
So he wasn't, because I originally thought he went to rehab after everything that we had happened. One of the videos you had posted last year. That
was in Mexico. That video, that was in Mexico.
I thought that video was in Vegas.
Mexico.
When they caught him like on the street?
That was in Vegas, but when I posted that first update of him in rehab, right, we reacted to it on the pod, that was in Mexico.
So he's always been in and that changes everything too, because now we're not even talking United States laws. Mm-hmm. Honestly, he could probably walk out, but the story is that he got kidnapped and forced into a rehab. So
No, the story, okay, so
well, didn't she say he got kidnapped?
Yeah. So here's what's been going on. Okay, so we were just reacting to it raw at that time, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of right, but okay, we gotta do reading between the lines because we almost can't rely on like what people say because you got one camp and one camp. So she's saying he got kidnapped, right? But what a lot of other people are saying is that Nick is checked into rehab, and obviously addicts, they want to leave. They always want to leave. You feel me? And that's why, as long as Nate, like you had mentioned, Nate and Dana are paying for it, they're going to keep him in there. So a lot of people are saying this is for Nick's better good. This is a common story with addicts. They always try to leave. You know what I mean? And that's why the whole kidnapping thing came into place. She uses the word kidnapped. Really, Nick escaped from the rehab on his own, whatever the case, allegedly. And Dana and Nate are still paying for it, meaning that they're still requiring the services of that rehab, like you had mentioned. So they went back and they got him. That I don't believe it was kidnapping. Again, we don't know for sure, but I'm reading between the lines.
Interesting, because typically, and this is also true, unless it's mandated by a court judge, that patient can leave whenever they want.
Even if it's getting paid for?
Even if it's getting paid for.
That would suck. I would think no.
Here's two. Because an addict needs, if they want help, they need help, unless it's court ordered. An addict, either because the people in the counseling, they need to have people that are going to surrender to start the program. You're talking to an addict. I know plenty of addicts. Like, if I'm not going to want to give up myself, and want to actually go into the program, it's a lost cause. The people that are there want to help people that are going to take it seriously. Because now you're becoming a distraction for all.
And I guess that's where they're saying, and I hear your points, and I'm taking your word for it, but I guess that's why they're saying, crazy shit happens in Mexico. So I know that you're saying all those laws, and I agree, but I guess those might be U.S. laws, and maybe I'm hearing that Mexico plays by different laws, where they're a little bit more like, nah, we're locking your ass in here for 90 days, and you got no rights. I don't know.
That's what I don't know either. I don't know how that's because at first I thought he was here, and then they took him there, and I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. But he was already there, and he tried to escape. Unless they're paying them, like you just said, money, maybe they are saying, hey, no, we're going to get your ass back in here, and we're going to drug you, and we're going to keep you here. That's a whole nother, and you're right, I don't know what they do down in Mexico when it comes to that shit.
Definitely. So I guess we don't know, but we're putting it out there. So, this is going to get some exposure, and maybe we'll get some comments for some clarity. To add to it, right, because there's more to the story. Somebody commented on the pod, it might have been Jew last week, saying she alleged that Nick's coach stole $200K. So I'm breaking it all down for everybody. You can make your own opinions. She said that Nick's coach stole $200K from him. Then Nick's coach came out and said nah, Nick's doing good. He's single, and basically he might be looking for a girlfriend or something like that. Basically denying all her claims and saying that she's crazy ex-girlfriend status. So again, but he's saying that after she accused him of stealing $200K. So who's lying?
Right.
Who's lying about who to make them look better? We don't know. I will say Cesar Gracie, because I know all the lore. Cesar Gracie has been accused several times of falling out with the Diaz brothers for malpractice with their finances.
So I saw that too. He posted something.
And that was a response to her basically talking shit.
Right.
So we don't know who's telling the truth. But he has been accused in the past of stealing money, so-called.
And Nate still hasn't came out and said anything.
So I got some updates on that. It seems. So I've got some screenshots. So this woman sent me a bunch of screenshots. She might be a podcast watcher. So let me just read it to you. It says, I have screenshots of Nick Diaz's girlfriend's Instagram where she slams Nate for not supporting them and basically asks for a GoFundMe. She posted then deleted and saying they're homeless, her and Nick. So unfollow me, I don't care really. These ones are crazy. Trying to control our life and tell us, okay, leave us with nothing, but none of you following me would be here without what Nick laid out. I've been here 6 years now. Let us have our own relationship. Let us feel paper money. Let us make mistakes and learn. I know Nick's wishes before family, really before anyone in his life. The actions affect me best before anyone else because I live day by day together next to each other. I have slept in parks with him, like she kind of mentioned before. When we have nowhere to go, I have ate cheese sandwiches together. Nobody rescues us. This isn't a fairy tale. It's real life. We aren't rich. We are poor. We ride around in my 2010 Ford Focus because everyone takes from us. But we have pillow talk. I lay with him in bed. Okay, so take everything from us, and Nick will come to me. So take everything from us, and Nick will still come to me. Take his house, leave him with nothing. We will live in a tent together before we are controlled by people we don't trust. Then somebody else said, can you start a GoFundMe for you and Nick? Reading your story posts, I don't think people realize how bad it's gotten. And then she said, exactly, thank you. I don't, because I don't want to disrespect his family, but they don't help us at all. So thank you. Meaning she hasn't started a GoFundMe out of respect for his family, but his family doesn't help him. So somebody else commented, Nick has money, and trust me, if he was in a pinch, his brother Nate would help out. They're brothers for life. And she responded, that's funny. Why? And then that person said, why is it funny? He won't help? And then she said, Nick and I are on our own, but that's okay. So she's claiming Nate doesn't like throw him money like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've heard Nick is paying for the rehab, but as far as throwing him cash, and that's a slippery slope because he can buy drugs. You know, one other comment she responded to, somebody said, maybe if you didn't do so many drugs with Nick the whole time you've been with him, he wouldn't be so fucked up. Both of you wouldn't be so fucked up living in a car, and you're a stripper as well. Stop doing drugs and life will get better. Get a real job instead of taking your clothes off. Nick deserves so much better. You both need help. She said, you effing a-hole. I don't do drugs. You something. I work 40 hours a week as a hotel housekeeper in a laundry room so Nick doesn't have to work at Walmart. And then there's these from
Damn.
yeah, and then there's these from Nick's jiu-jitsu coach, or his recovery coach. So this is a guy who's been in Nate's corner, younger brother. His name is Ernie Reyes. So he's a close confidant of Nate.
Okay.
So she tagged him in a post and said, I said that Ruben Deal put those Xanax in Nick's protein shake before driving him over the border and forcing him into a facility where he does not want to be and has no contact with his girlfriend. Holy shit. I don't know if you just comprehended what I just read you.
Say it one more time.
They mixed Xanax in his protein shake before they drove him across the Mexican border and put him in rehab. Because obviously everybody knows that you have to be high to get checked into rehab.
Right.
You can't be sober. So he didn't want to go to rehab. He was staying sober, and she's saying that people drugged him and took him to that rehab.
Yeah, honestly, the more I'm hearing this story, the more I don't trust what she's saying.
So, okay, so let's keep going with this because that's what she claimed. And then the jiu-jitsu recovery coach responded. And he said, go away. You've done more damage than help. You need therapy yourself. You need mental health professionals to help you to heal from all the trauma and bullshit you and Nick been through. Stop posting shit about Nick fueled by your emotions. You are living in his house rent-free for years now. The least you can do is stay out of the way of Nick's family helping him get better and healthy. She says, really? Because the last I checked, I'm the one who kissed my lips on him and brought Nick back to life those days when none of you were around. And then the recovery coach said again, you need to find a place to live. And then he also said, instead of spreading rumors, you need to focus on finding another place to live. There's a reason why you are not allowed to be around Nick. You are a liability and a snitch. You've been deleted, but like a cockroach, you keep on keeping on with your bullshit. She says, and I think he's calling her a snitch because she posted that video of him last year that we posted where he was lighting the shit on fire. A lot of people said that was his girlfriend who posted that. Then she responded again and said, not allowed to see him? What's going to happen when Nick comes back to me, though? And then he responds, you so desperate to be with Nick, in all capitals, get in the back of the line. There's too many quality women available for Nick. Get a life. I should have kept you blocked and deleted. No man wants to be with a known sex worker, fool. Oh, I mean former sex worker. So now, a close fucking confidant in the family, Nate Diaz family, if he says she's a sex worker, she's a sex worker.
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems super toxic. It sounds like they probably did drugs together, and this girl's like already been on one, and he and Nick, found the wrong one because
Two more, and then I know you got 10 minutes, so let me go two more, and then get your reaction. We'll get out of here.
Yeah.
She goes, really? Because Nick does. We've spoken several times about XXX, meaning X, that category stuff. And he goes, oh, I forgot you want to be a hardcore porn actress. Yup, do that. You are tailor-made for such a lifestyle, and that be awesome for Nick's mental health and recovery. Seeing you get wrecked by Five Brothers BBC. You are a class act when you are going to announce your porn debut. And then she says, we weren't talking, but I can't read that part. It got cut off. And then she says, Nick didn't have any money when I met him. His bank account had already been drained. He was $0. We left to Vegas and used my savings from working at the strip club all those years to buy flights, rooms, and food. I'm talking about the money Caesar took from Nick's last fight. That money should have went to pay down Nick's taxes or fix his home, not to line someone else's pockets. So they're saying Cesar Gracie stole from Nick from that Robbie Lawler fight.
A lot of laundry came out. And
she admits to being a stripper.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there could two things could be true at the same time. Sounds like maybe some other shady shit on this side, and he ended up starting doing drugs with the fucking scandalous girl and shit. And when you start doing drugs with and you get into that world, especially with someone that been stripping and shit, like it's a slippery slope, bro. It's a dark world,
mm-hmm.
And you start doing dark things, and things start become normal, and she's probably still super toxic, probably still not sober, used to like living in cars and shit, fucking whatever money you can get, especially when you're a drug addict, bro. Like that shit's dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a scary one because she seems like she knows that she's got Nick wrapped around her fingertip. I guess there's some ways that they've had some communication over time, and he's still in that communication. And yeah, relationships are hard with that. The separation, people always keep going back.
Especially when you've been drug addicts together.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
It's almost like that Bonnie and Clyde, ride or die. You and me, babe. You and me, babe. And
they get each other a little bit more too than other people.
Oh, yeah. And you're just getting high together, bro, and just like in this crazy fucking high world, just you and me against the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you build this bond, but it's such a toxic fucking poisonous bond.
Yeah.
Hopefully that he's able to break it and get some sobriety, because when he gets out of this and he gets out of the fog and he can see the clear picture, he'll realize this is not for him.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully his brother, I hope there are really some people behind the scenes like his brother and Dana White and whoever else, really helping, because this could be a really slippery slope.
Yeah.
Now that I have a bigger picture of what you're saying, I was at first like, oh damn, you got this, but now that I'm hearing who she is and what her background is, I don't trust what she's saying at all.
Yeah, and shout out Danny Jella Cabrera for the information. Shout out to you, appreciate it. To wrap it up, this is what I will say. I also just read that all for the first time because it was a lot to like digest. I would say after reading all that, obviously I think that Nick is very private, right? Nick doesn't like to address his brother. He respects his family, and he's just very like.
It's a hard thing to bring up.
Yeah, so that's why you have his coach, and that's why you have his coach coming in and saying some shit. So I believe what his coach is saying. I believe that because I've seen like videos. Nick hangs out with this guy every day still. So I know that they have behind closed door conversations, and this guy went on his Instagram and kind of like aired out some of that behind closed door conversations he has with Nate. So I think some of what he said was a reflection of what Nate said, which is Nate probably feels like his brother needs to get away from this girl, right? And things of that nature. Obviously he exposed her for stripping, so that's obviously got to be true because again, he's close with Nate, so it's all got to be confirmed, or else he wouldn't be saying shit like that. Because then Nate's gonna be like, "Why are you starting rumors?" Mm-hmm. I will also say that it seems like she wants to, for whatever reason, right, get Nick back, and she doesn't care about his health and well-being. So that's really unfortunate. A lot of people were thinking that she wants to save her boyfriend, right? That's what the first narrative is. That's what she wants people to think. We don't know for sure, but let's just put that other side of it to where she might be manipulating people to get Nick out and like not be the one to give him the help he needs.
And here's the other thing too,
because I believed her on that first fucking like last week. I believed her.
Here's a flip side of all that. I've dealt with women who are addicts and fucking are already crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They live in a fucking imaginary world, bro. Like you talk to them like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, making things up in their own mind, and then you add drugs to it. It's almost like the CTE situation, but you add drugs to it. It's so toxic, bro. It's like I can smell that 1,000 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm smelling here.
Yeah, I can kind of smell it too.
She loony.
Yeah, it seems like it a little bit. We didn't even talk about it, so I just got to get like at least a minute thought. Buckley, Usman, who wins, and what's on the line here? Is Buckley getting that title shot? Is he not? You've heard some of the things about Islam, right? So like, what do you think happens here?
I think it's a great test for Buckley. I'm a little bit nervous. I haven't been nervous for a fight in a while. Like, I'm nervous for Buckley.
Big magnitude, right?
Yeah. I am. I'm nervous for him, bro. Like, I can feel it. So but I liked how he like kind of squared up on him yesterday. I think that he's just younger. He's more athletic. I think it's his time. I think that I liked it, but I also would like to see Buckley get tested.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see him kind of like, oh shit, okay, maybe have to earn a round.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him maybe go into deep waters to
like get into a scramble and come out on top type of thing.
And not only that, maybe, I hate to say it, but maybe be down a round and have to pull something out and to get that championship like next level. And I think he could use this Usman fight to do that. Brendan Schaub said something interesting yesterday about Joe Pfeiffer. I know you don't want to bring him up.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Basically, the premise of like you need fights like this in order to get to this next stage. In Buckley, like I said, I haven't seen him being really tested lately.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him kind of walk through guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all gonna be like that. I mean, hopefully they are. Hopefully you that dude.
Yeah, time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully you that dude. And now we're coming back like, bro, we just knocked him the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hopefully that's the case. But I think Usman maybe still has a little bit juice left in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But I'm going Buckley all day.
Yeah,
all day.
I'm going Buckley. I'm excited for this fight. I think it is a great matchup. Just a good progression, right, from Colby, and then you go up to Kamaru. So the guy who beat Colby all those years, now you're fighting the guy who beat him. So it's a good step up in opponent. And if Buckley can also rise to the not level of competition, but to the moment, right, and really capitalize on it, I think it's big. I do think that, again, we're talking about timing, right? I do think with a big win this weekend, he does steal that number 1 contender spot, regardless of what people want to say.
If he gets a knockout and he gets a dominating win, it's going to be hard not to say no. You know what I mean?
Especially when it comes to timing and pickiness with Islam.
It's going to be, and I think a lot of these fights come, how do you win, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about Merab. Merab got a finish. If he wouldn't went to a decision, I may have a whole different opinion about how the song like. But if Buckley gets not a decision, but another knockout.
If he flatlines Usman, what happens?
Bro, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard not to say to give him that number 1 contender spot.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be really hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sean Brady got a finish too. I think Sean Brady's number, it's Bilal. So you're saying he jumps even past Bilal right now?
I'm saying Buckley jumps past everybody, maybe even Islam. I mean, we need JDM to kind of be on board with it and be like, this is what I would like to. I create my own reality, so just hear me out. Mm-hmm. I think JDM should say, you know what, that whole bullshit about if I'm not ready to fight, then I'm gonna get stripped. You guys can suck my D, all right? I'm ready to fight now. I want to fight soon before Islam. Islam turns that shit down, and then JDM and Buckley run it.
I mean, I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it. That's why it makes this Saturday so exciting because we get to find out what's really going to happen, and Usman gets. I mean, his star is going to get brighter.
Mm-hmm. Now, one other question about this: Buckley did say that he feels as though if the Islam fight does pretty much go through, then he's probably going to need one more because, like, you and him say you guys are such like rule followers in this case. He's like, Usman is only ranked number 5. It's like, bro, we got to stick to the fucking storyline. Like, he's the number 1 contender. But anyway, I
like it. I heard him today too. He's like, bro, I'll fight another fight.
So who? You got the Ian Gary of the world. I say no, Sean Brady. Sean Brady doesn't deserve a Buckley. So is it the Buck versus the Cuck? Is it Buck versus like a Shavkat? Is it, you know what I mean? What do we do?
I think any of those guys, I don't think it matters who he fights. It could be Bilal it could be Leon, it could be Ian, it could be Shavkat. All those guys move you literally right up to that number one spot. Because all of them are coming for the number one spot.
And they're all doing matchups, too, to get to the number one. Again, it's like every time one of these guys fight, it's argued for a number one contender.
Because if you beat Bilal, money. If you beat Leon Edwards, money. If you beat Ian Gary, money. If you beat Sean Brady, money. If you beat Shavkat, money.
Yeah.
I mean, any of those names that are just like, you become undeniable, especially.
But what's the one then to propel you to that title shot? Who's the opponent? Who's the opponent that proves out of all those names listed for Joaquin, if he has to fight one more, who's the opponent that will get you the title shot the fastest? Is it Bilal? Is it Ian Gary? Is it Brady? Even though I'm a big hater on Brady.
Honestly, I think it's Brady.
Okay. It might be Brady.
Because they're giving him this like mantle for Sean Brady to stand on right now. And if you're able to knock that mantle down, like
nope. Because again, it's games, right? Like Brady fight a different guy, Joaquin fight a different guy, and then we're gonna say who's more deserving. Instead, just run it with each other.
Because look what Ian Gary's trying to do. Ian Gary's trying to create that fight with Sean Brady because he knows if he steals that mantle, I am the number one guy. Right.
Honestly, and I don't like to say it, but I think Sean Brady versus Buck. If Buck has to do one more, I think it might have to be Sean Brady.
Yeah. And people will watch it. People will be like, all right.
But it's not going to be as exciting. This is my issue, unfortunately, is yes, people will watch it, mostly because of Joaquin, but they won't watch it more than Joaquin versus Ian Gary. And that's the argument to run that one. Because at the press conference, they're like, who would you like? They asked Joaquin the question I'm asking right now. And then he said the person who the people want to see the most. And that's Ian Gary, but Brady kind of proves more. So it's that weird catch-22.
You know what's even more telling? After he gets the win, who's going to be calling Buckley out?
Bro, nobody's even said his name at all. The only person who's called him out on record, Carlos Prates, and he actually called him out on my Instagram page. But that's the only one.
But here's the thing. Like, when he gets the win, the Ian Garys of the world, maybe we'll see Ian Gary be like, oh, I'll fight Buckley next because he knows, oh, shit, he's going to be that number one contender. Mm-hmm. I want to take out the light. So it's going to be very telling how his peers respond. Mm-hmm. That will tell us a lot, too.
Yeah.
Because imagine Bilal calls out Buckley.
Yeah.
If I was Buckley, that's music to my ears. That's money.
Definitely.
You just gave me more money.
Right.
So
because that's the former champ, and then the former right. Bilal's the former champ, and then Sean Brady is the number one contender. So really, who do we think gives you more respect there? Who gets you the title shot more there? You beat Bilal, or you beat because Bilal beat Sean Brady.
But look, here's the thing too. All these guys are fighting for the spotlight. Ian getting it, Sean getting it, Bilal getting it. Buckley wins, he's getting it. Sean Brady had it. So now they're all like arguing to see they can match up together, so they can go to the spotlight together. They're thinking smart. Mm-hmm. So it's
the best division. Now you got Kevin Holland in there, fucking as like a filter, as like a Brita. You know the Brita filter. Kevin Holland's like the division's new Brita filter. Like you can't get through the division unless you get past fucking Kevin Holland. All right, so that's a good one. Shit, bro. I don't got no prediction, man. I'm just looking forward to this one. And I know that if a knockout happens, that is going to be insane. And also, I'll do a little prediction. Over the weekend, you saw Ju Song Yu, right? He did he got that knockout. If you notice, his opponent that got knocked out, he kind of planted his feet when they got closer to the cage and just swung like that. And Usman's knees are kind of like that, to where Usman doesn't really stay under his knees. Like Usman has to eventually plant his feet to throw, and same kind of thing. If he starts leaning over and throwing, bro, Joaquin will probably knock him out if he makes that mistake.
Was like a counter?
A counter, because look at that Ju Sung Yu fight from this last weekend. He KO'd the guy because the guy leaned forward and stopped his feet from moving. So his feet were his feet were like this, if you feel me. Like his torso was up here, his feet behind him. He was overextended. And then he just got caught. Usman throws like that. Usman gets you up against the cage. He walks you up against the cage. And then he starts throwing. And he just plants his feet. And if he stops moving his feet, Joaquin's knocking him out.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, boys.
Be a whole different. We're gonna see how that conversation goes next Wednesday.
We're gonna see. Yeah. Just Drew says Buckley and Gary is the title-worthy match. All right.
Hey, shout out to the homie too for sticking in with us today.
He also agrees with you. It's giving crazy girlfriend vibes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
But now we gotta add drugs on top of it, bro. Like it's a whole, bro.
And that just makes it make more sense.
I've been around bitches, bro, where they like super drug addicts and they're crazy, and you're listening to them like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Get her out of here. Like
Toxic.
Oh, bro. Like,
Those toxic bitches are like, yeah, that reaction right there is what you do to a toxic bitch.
drug crazy toxic bitches are fucking out of this world. Bro.
Insane.
Fucking insane.
A whole new breed. Hey, what up, Andrew? Podcast is ending, but just fucking rewind it once I end this shit. Shout out Just Jew. Tap in next week, 4 p.m. Wednesday.